If you haven't already, please go ahead and click on the subscribe button, and while you're at it, click on that little bell too.
What's up everybody, it's me E-Man from E-Man's Movie Reviews. A lot of people are really excited for Avengers 4. Now there have been a ton of rumors and leaks and speculation about what the Avengers 4 title might be. But you know what? Today we're going to do things a little differently. I want to play a little game. Instead of me just rattling off a whole bunch of Avengers 4 possible titles, we're going to do a process of elimination based on actual clues and hints. And once I present these possible clues, we'll all be able to narrow down the list of the most likely Avengers 4 title. And with the research that I've done, I'll share with you all what I think is the most likely Avengers 4 title. Coming up next. When I started researching online for the rumors of leaked titles that people may have speculated about, I realized that there are a lot of ideas out there. I mean, I had a list of 20 titles before I sat down to even do this video. So rather than sit here wasting time going through the endless possibilities, I thought it would be much more helpful to limit our choices down based on what the Russo brothers, Kevin Feige, or anyone else associated with Marvel has actually said about the Avengers 4 title. As I mentioned earlier, the goal here is to give you all what I think are the most important clues to figuring out the title for Avengers 4. Because once you have these set of clues, you can vote at the end of the video for which title you think will be the most likely to be the official title for Avengers 4. Before we start, I want you all to grab a pen and some paper, or just jot this down somewhere and write down, let's say, 3 to 5 guesses of what you think the next Avengers 4 title will be. Throughout this video, I want you to keep your list handy and just refer back to it as we go along. Okay, so let's get down to business and set up our clues so we can figure out what the most likely Avengers 4 title might be. Let's start with clue number 1. The very first clue that we have comes from the president of Marvel Studios himself, Kevin Feige. Back in 2017, Feige was interviewed and was asked this: "When I talked with Joe and Anthony Russo last year, I guess a couple of months ago, they mentioned we, the public, don't know the name of Avengers 4, that they're not going to announce it. It's going to be a minute. I'm curious if the reason for that is because it's a spoiler." Kevin Feige responded with, "Yeah, for sure." If you've ever wondered why people are so anxious about the Avengers 4 title, that's your answer. Because the title supposedly could be an actual spoiler. But let me be more specific. The first clue suggests that the Avengers 4 title will spoil Avengers Infinity War. Maybe the Avengers 4 title alludes to the big finger snap from Thanos, or possibly even the aftermath of it all. Clue number 2. Another early hint we got came from a tweet response by the Russo brothers when someone said, "The fact that the Russo brothers won't give us the Avengers 4 title because it spoils Infinity War scares the bleep out of me." The Russos' response? It should. So from this clue, we can tell that whatever the Avengers 4 title is, it not only refers back to the Infinity War ending, but it should also scare us. All right, clue number 3. The Russo brothers have said that out of all the title theories that they've heard for Avengers 4, Avengers Forever is the closest. They further joked and said, the actual title is the Avengers Almost Forever. Now, I thought this was an interesting clue. What I gathered from this was that the title has something to do with time in some sense. So maybe we could start thinking of words that are synonymous to forever. All right, let's move to clue number 4. When asked about the Avengers 4 title in another interview, the Russo brothers said, "I don't think there are any comics that correlate to it. I think we're in pretty fresh territory with Avengers 4, but I can't think of any comics in particular that would have value. Our job, as we said a million times, is to tell the story of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not to direct adaptations of the comics because we're comic book fans. I have no interest as a director in telling a story that's already been told or in seeing one that's already been told. Well, I think this is probably the biggest clue that we can have. The Russo brothers do not want to retell a story that's already been told, especially one that's already been a comic. They may use the comics for inspiration, but they really want to tell us something new. In regards to the Avengers 4 title, we can scratch off any Avengers 4 titles that are directly connected to a comic book. So we can say goodbye to the Infinite Avengers or Avengers Unlimited or Avengers Infinity Crusade or Avengers Secret Wars, or even the latest leak that suggests that it could be Avengers Annihilation. All of those are based off comic book, so odds are that the Russo brothers don't want to use those titles. All right, moving on to clue number 5. In an interview, Kevin Feige had this to say about Avengers 4. But storylines can come to an end. The best stories do come to an end. Return of the Jedi was an ending for a long time, and as a 10-year-old in 1983, that carried me through 30 years until there was a sequel. That hasn't happened before in the superhero genre. A new actor comes in and a new storyline starts right away. We wanted to do it this way because we think that the best stories have a definitive ending to a storyline. That's certainly what's going to happen next year with Avengers 4. So, Kevin Feige said a lot here. By comparing Avengers 4 to Return of the Jedi, it gives me the impression that Marvel is going to close a big chapter with the Avengers story. Not only that, but it'll be a definitive end to that story. And that ending doesn't necessarily have to set anything up for the future. The same way Return of the Jedi ended, and that was a done deal for like 30 years, the same will apply with Avengers 4, in a sense. And maybe, just like Return of the Jedi, after some time has passed, we'll continue that story and pick up where we left off, except with a new cast of people. There's a lot to chew on with this quote from Feige, but we'll get to that later. All right, clue number 6. Just recently, Mark Ruffalo appeared on the Jimmy Fallon show, and while he was there, he tried to troll fans about the Avengers 4 title. Of course, this was all just a marketing ploy to drum up some more hype for the title drop. When he supposedly said the title, they bleeped him and censored his mouth. So instead of going full conspiracy theorist and trying to decipher the movements of his cheekbones or whatever, the one thing that stood out to me was what he said before they put the censor on his mouth. That is, it's already out there. I think what this hints at is whatever the title may be, either the title has already been mentioned or some news that hints at the title has already been announced. I'll go into more detail about that in just a moment, but I do think that this was a huge clue. Okay, we've got a bunch of clues to work with now. How's your list coming along? Have all your guesses made the cut? Well, now's the point where I share with you all my top 5 guesses for the Avengers 4 title. So I'll start off with the least likely one first. Coming in at number 5, Avengers Endgame. Yeah, I know. This was probably one of the most popular guesses out there, especially with Doctor Strange mentioning this in Infinity War. It would also make sense seeing as though Strange has seen the future already, so why wouldn't he just so happen to know the title for Avengers 4? I'm also aware that some people will want to mention and bring up the random picture that the Russo brothers released on their social media. All they said in this picture was, "Look hard." A lot of people have speculated that the image was hinting at the Avengers 4 title. Some people even saw the title Endgame in there too. Now, despite this popularity, the title Endgame has not only been denied by the Russo brothers, but it's also a title for a previous Avengers comic book. So according to our clue number 4, Avengers Endgame just doesn't make the cut. All right, coming in at number 4, Avengers Destiny. Now, I would like to believe that this is an original idea because I haven't heard anyone else mention this in any of my Google searches. I also do not believe it's referenced to any other comics either. Now, if it happens to and you guys know that, please feel free to let me know. Now, the reason I thought Avengers Destiny could be a title is because this was used in the previous Infinity War promotions and even the movie. Remember what Thanos said? I thought this would work because Destiny is kind of close to almost forever, you know, like how the Russo brothers were joking about, because it does kind of have that time factor involved. Also, Destiny does have a bit of a finality tied to it, which could tie into what Kevin Feige mentioned with Avengers 4 having a definitive ending. Now, let me tell you guys something. I was super geeked when I figured out all these clues and I sat here and thought about Avengers Destiny, and I was like, I think I've got it. Until I found clue number 7. In another interview, the Russo brothers were asked, is the title of the 4th Avengers ever spoken in Infinity War? Their answer, no. So that means Avengers Endgame or Avengers Destiny are now out of the running. If they said it in Infinity War, it does not count. But luckily, we do have a couple more titles that can work. Coming in at number 3, Avengers No More. Now, I really like this for a couple of reasons. It's not tied to a comic book, and this title would definitely spoil Infinity War a la clue number 1. It's not mentioned in the movie to my knowledge, and best of all, if you watch the animated Avengers cartoon, they already ran an episode with the same title. In that episode, it dealt with how the original Avengers are lost in time and space, and the new Avengers take over for them. I guess the only issue with this is that, well, this is already a story that's been told. And per clue number 4, the Russos may not want to retell something that's already been shown, even if it weren't in a comic book. So this is actually getting pretty difficult to meet the standards of these clues in what could possibly be the next Avengers 4 title. But I do think that these next 2 titles have the best chance of being the one. But of course, you all can be the judge. Coming in at number 2, Avengers Eternity. Avengers Eternity has a lot of potential here. A while back, the Russo brothers did drop a supposedly random image of an art exhibit called Aftermath of Obliteration of Eternity. What's more interesting here is that Eternity is a cosmic being in the Marvel Universe. We got a hint of this in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 when Peter Quill said that he could see Eternity. It would make a lot of sense if this would be the next title for sure. I suppose the only knock I have against Avengers Eternity is that I don't see how knowing this title would have spoiled Avengers Infinity War had we known it prior. So this leaves me to what I believe will be the number 1 most likely title for Avengers 4. Avengers: The Last Avenger. Alright, this would make a lot of sense, especially if it's centered around Captain America. It's already been confirmed that Captain America will have a much bigger story in Avengers 4. Also, let's not forget that Captain America's very first MCU movie was called Captain America: The First Avenger. So if the title for Avengers 4 was The Last Avenger, it would finally bring everything full circle by having Captain America be the focal point in the movie. And that would make a lot of sense. Let's not forget that the Russo brothers started off with Captain America. Finishing off his story is a very personal endeavor for them. And let's not forget, Chris Evans made an announcement not too long ago that, well, basically his contract is done and he's done being Captain America. And let's think about that. People were hit kind of hard with just that news. It was kind of scary to think that we wouldn't be getting any more Captain America. And let's think about something else. Had we known that Avengers 4 would have been called The Last Avenger before Infinity War came out, I do think that many people would have guessed that the potential spoiler of Infinity War would be the fact that, well, some Avengers weren't going to make it. And remember what I mentioned with Mark Ruffalo's comments talking about it's already out there? Well, he made that comment only a little while after Chris Evans posted his heartfelt goodbye to the Captain America character. So maybe Ruffalo was alluding to Chris Evans' departure as being it's already out there. If the title is The Last Avenger, then I suppose the word last would also kind of allude to time. And this all fits perfectly with what Kevin Feige was alluding to when he said that there would be a definitive end to a story. The Last Avenger sounds like a pretty definitive ending to me. Well, I think with all these clues, Avengers: The Last Avenger may just be our most likely title for Avengers 4. Kevin Feige has said that the title will be revealed sometime soon, so my guess is that we may know either sometime in November or December of this year. Marvel's obviously going to want to release the title before the trailer comes out, and I think, going off of their previous patterns, that November or December would probably be the best time for them to drop the Avengers 4 trailer. Alright, so obviously the title doesn't have to be The Last Avenger. The Russo brothers can make up whatever title that they want. I remember reading somewhere that even just a couple of months ago, the Russo brothers still hadn't even come up with the actual title yet. So it literally could be anything. You know what would be funny though? It would be hilarious if the Russo brothers trolled all of us and revealed the new title for Avengers 4 and they were just like, it's Avengers 4. That would be some boss level trolling. Anyway, any one of these guesses can be completely wrong. Or maybe one of them is actually right. Who knows? Either way, I have a whole lot of fun just thinking about these things and sharing my thoughts with you all so that you all can share your thoughts with me. I'm really interested in seeing what you guys think about these clues, this process of elimination, and these other possible Avengers 4 titles. So by all means, let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos, commenting in the comments, and sharing my videos as well. That really does mean a lot to me. So for real, thank you. If you don't mind, share this video with a friend that happens to like Marvel movies, or if you got some more time on your hands, check out some of my other videos. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.